All right, today we are jumping headfirst into the wild, windy world of Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. We're going to try and untangle the massive mystery at the heart of this book by looking at how it all starts, with what has to be one of the most awkward and downright hostile welcomes in the history of literature.
So, let's meet our narrator. His name is Mr. Lockwood, it's 1801, and he's this rich city guy who's renting a house in the countryside because he fancies himself a bit of a recluse. He goes to visit his landlord, the infamous Mr. Heathcliff, and immediately decides, hey, this guy gets me. We're two peas in a pod, we both hate people. Oh boy, is he ever wrong. Like, completely 100% mistaken.
Lockwood's second visit is... wow. It's basically a masterclass in how to be the absolute worst guest. He shows up in the middle of a blizzard, uninvited. He antagonizes the dogs until they, big surprise, attack him. Then, and this is a real highlight, he mistakes a pile of dead rabbits for a bunch of adorable kittens. Despite all the glaring signs that say get out, he just digs in his heels and demands they let him stay the night. The big takeaway here? Our narrator isn't exactly the most perceptive guy. So Lockwood finds himself trapped in this house with, well, a very strange crew. You've got Heathcliff, the landlord, who's this walking contradiction, described as a gypsy in appearance but with the manners of a gentleman, a really moody, suspicious gentleman. Then there's the young lady of the house, who's beautiful but seems to be permanently sneering at everyone. Add to that Joseph, a super old servant, who mainly speaks in curses, and Hareton, a young guy who just kind of grunts. Yeah, not exactly a warm, welcoming bunch.
After a totally nightmarish night, we're talking ghostly apparitions and even more arguments, Lockwood is left asking the same thing we are. What in the world is the story here? Why do all these people seem to hate each other so much? The whole house is just vibrating with this old, angry energy, and Lockwood, now sick in bed from the whole ordeal, becomes obsessed. He has to find out what's going on.
And this right here is where the real story kicks into gear. To figure it all out, Lockwood asks his housekeeper, Nellie Dean, to tell him about the family at Wuthering Heights. And it turns out she's the key. She's the one with all the answers, because she grew up there. She saw everything.
So Nellie Dean starts talking, and suddenly we're jumping backwards in time, way back, more than 20 years before Lockwood ever showed up. Because those angry, bitter adults he just met, well, they were kids once, and their story is where the real tragedy begins. So we're leaving Lockwood in his sickbed in 1801 and zipping back to around 1778.
Nellie's story begins with a single dramatic event that completely upended the Earnshaw family. The master of Wuthering Heights, Mr. Earnshaw, comes home from a trip to Liverpool. But he isn't alone. He's brought a child with him, a dirty, ragged, abandoned boy he found on the streets. That boy, of course, is a young Heathcliff.
You can see the conflict right from the start. Mr. Earnshaw holds up this kid and calls him a gift of God, an act of charity. But in the very next breath, he admits the boy is so dark he looks like he came from the devil. So is he a blessing or a curse? This one act of kindness is like planting a seed of chaos that's going to grow up and choke everyone.
And the rest of the family? They are not happy. Not at all. The son, Hindley, finds out the fiddle his dad promised him got crushed on the journey home. The daughter, Catherine, finds out her whip got lost. And Mrs. Earnshaw is just furious, demanding to know why he brought a gypsy brat into their home. From day one, Heathcliff's arrival means loss and resentment for everybody else.
But out of all that anger, something else grows. After her initial fury, Catherine becomes incredibly close with Heathcliff.
They become this wild, inseparable pair, always out running on the moors together. It's like they're two halves of the same rebellious soul, and Heathcliff is completely devoted to her. Their bond sets them against the world, especially against Catherine's older brother, Hindley, who is just consumed by jealousy.
Okay, now we get to a really crucial idea that shapes everyone's fate. It's this clash between social class and raw nature, and it's perfectly symbolized by two very different houses. On one side, you have the passionate, untamed world of Wuthering Heights, and on the other, the civilized, polished world of Thrushcross Grange.
I mean, these places are polar opposites. Wuthering Heights is literally named for the stormy winds that batter it. It's a place of instinct and powerful emotion. Thrushcross Grange, where the rich Linton family lives, is all about society, order, and being proper. These two worlds are absolutely destined to collide, with Catherine and Heathcliff stuck right in the middle. And that collision happens one night when Catherine and Heathcliff are caught spying on the Lintons. The Lintons' dog bites Catherine, and she's forced to stay at Thrushcross Grange for 5 weeks to get better. This right here, this is a huge turning point. For the very first time, Catherine gets a taste of a different kind of life, a life with fine dresses, compliments, and gentility. And, well, she discovers she really likes it. This little taste of the good life leads directly to the story's first great disaster. Catherine is now completely torn. She has this profound, soul-level love for Heathcliff, but now she also wants social status and refinement, and that desire gets a face: Edgar Linton. So when Catherine gets back to Wuthering Heights, she's transformed. She's wearing a beautiful dress, her hair is all done up, she's not the wild child anymore. And her brother Hindley, who now runs the house and despises Heathcliff, is absolutely delighted. She finally looks like a lady, someone who can marry into a wealthy family like the Lintons.
Heathcliff, on the other hand, is just crushed. He sees this new, polished Catherine and immediately understands what it means. It's a barrier between them. He's still just the dirty, uneducated boy that Hindley treats like a servant. He knows he can't compete with the handsome, wealthy, and gentle Edgar Linton in society's eyes, and he feels his own low status more painfully than ever.
So the conflict boils over, and Catherine makes her fateful choice. Even with this unbelievably deep connection to Heathcliff, she tells Nellie Dean that she's accepted Edgar Linton's proposal. She's choosing safety. She's choosing wealth. She's choosing to climb the social ladder.
And this is the moment where everything shatters. Heathcliff is secretly listening, and he hears Catherine say that marrying him now would degrade her. That's it. That's all he hears. Broken and humiliated, he runs off into the night. The absolute tragedy is that he leaves before he hears the rest. He doesn't hear her say, "I am Heathcliff." He doesn't hear her say their souls are the same. He only hears the rejection.
On the very night Heathcliff runs away, a massive storm just slams into Wuthering Heights. The wind, the thunder, it's like nature itself is screaming in protest of Catherine's choice. It's the perfect symbol for the emotional chaos that just ripped their lives apart. Heathcliff disappears for 3 whole years. He vanishes into that storm, fueled by heartbreak and a burning desire for revenge. And this sets the stage for everything that comes next. So the question isn't if he'll come back, it's when, and what kind of person he'll be when he finally does.